Pull in there. And if you don't get your hand off my leg, you're gonna be wiping your ass with a hook the next time you take a dump.
That's right. I never heard no talk like that when I was a boy. What the hell are you doing, girl?
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Hello and welcome. Welcome and hello. This is Wait, You Haven't Seen? It's a show where we talk about movies, but specifically we talk about a movie at least one of us has never seen before. I'm your host, Travis, a.k.a. TV's Travis. This is episode number 236, and it is the start of Spooktober. And every October, this show gets taken over by another show that I'm part of called the GORE podcast. So joining me to talk about this movie, the wicked kitten always getting into mischief, Monica.
Hello, I'm Wicked, but you can call me Honey Buns.
The endearing, the ethereal Faye.
Hi.
And the dread you've been feeling since you hit play on this podcast, it's Dreadly.
Hello.
Now, we watched a Stephen King, a whole lot of Stephen King, Maximum Overdrive, 1986's Maximum Overdrive. So, who was it that hadn't seen this before? It was Wicked, right? Yeah.
Me.
So you had not seen this before. The rest of us had. So I'm going to start with you. How is it as the horror fan and Stephen King fan I know you to be that you didn't see this movie?
I don't know. I mean, are there Stephen King movies I haven't seen? I think there's still a couple out there, random ones. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I remember I was supposed to watch this. It was on a VHS that was recorded off the TV by one of my cousins. And we ended up watching something else that night. And that's the only memory I have of this. It's not like it played on TV a lot that I noticed. Maybe it didn't, I just missed it. But I don't know.
Could be. Well,
I knew what it was about.
Okay, yeah. It's kind of infamous in that way. Faye, what's your history with this movie? When did you first see it?
Probably when I was like 9 or 10. I'm pretty sure this got played on USA Up All Night quite a bit.
About 9, 10 years old.
That's
a
where
good
I
age
saw
to
it.
see this movie, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Especially with all the swearing.
So you saw it around 9 or 10. And is it one that you've revisited a lot, or is it kind of you saw it?
Oh, yeah.
You'd watch it if it was on TV type of thing? Now you got your DVD copy
On
there.
TV,
Right.
I have the DVD.
Excellent.
It's one of my favorite movies.
All right. Dredd, how about you? When did you first see this? Do you remember?
Oh, I do not remember, but I do know I read the story first,
Okay.
and I know I've seen this movie before, but it might as well have not been, because I remember parts of this movie. There's parts that I didn't remember, and then there were parts that I definitely fell asleep to.
Fair.
So yeah, I don't remember exactly when, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the first time I saw this either. I know I was probably a teenager when I saw it for the first time. I don't remember seeing it very young. I know I had to have stumbled upon at least parts of it on like USA, because I would occasionally, find USA Up All Night or whatever, I'm sure. But like to sit down and properly watch it, I was probably in my teens sometime. Saw it. And my first reaction to the movie was like, the hell is this? This is terrible. Like, it's just cheesy. And I'm like, why is the coach from Mighty Ducks talking to a truck? Like, what the hell is happening here? Monica, since this was your first time really sitting down to watch it all the way through, how did you feel when you got done? Like, what was your first impression of Maximum Overdrive?
What the hell am I watching? That was like my first reaction. And it continued pretty, you know what? That they kept up that pace of what the hell is this movie? Wow.
Yeah, so this is based off of the short story Trucks, which was in Night Gallery, right? I think that was the collection
Night
it was
Shift.
part of. Night Shift. And it was Stephen King decided he was going to direct a movie because, as the trailer put it, and the trailer for this, if you haven't seen it, seek it out. It is awesome.
Especially the Stephen King's trailer.
Yes, the trailer with Stephen King in it, because it's just him talking to you. And he said, I just wanted someone to do Stephen King right. So I decided to do it myself. So he decided to direct this. What he didn't decide to do was not drink heavily and do cocaine the entire time. Because as he put it, he was so hopped up on cocaine and he had no idea what he was doing. Dino De Laurentiis is the producer of this film. He had bought Embassy Pictures like right before this and decided to make this movie. And Dino De Laurentiis is not quite Roger Corman level of like, I'm not going to spend money, but he does, like any producer, try to spend as little as possible. So that's why they shot everything in North Carolina, because he had a studio there. And is also a right to work state, which meant he could hire non-union people to work on the film, which that's not cool, but you know, it's a thing.
Interesting.
But yeah, he lets a unproven Stephen King direct this, who doesn't know what he's doing. So the story, okay, this is a piece of trivia. I want to get the three of you's take on this. The rumor is that George Romero ghost directed most of this movie because he was on set all the time. Now, King has always denied that and never said, like, yeah, that was true. He has said George Romero was around a lot and he was constantly asking him for advice on filming and all that kind of stuff.
That I can believe.
Like that, because that's the part that I believe. I don't know. Dread, what do you think? Do you think Romero actually directed it, or was just kind of there being like, dude, okay, you know, let me give you some help here?
Look, Stephen King never directed anything before this or since. If he was cooked out of his mind and all that and didn't know what he was doing, I think this movie is decent, okay? Like, this is not a crap directed movie. So if someone else was involved, I could believe that.
I like there for advice. Yes, I believe that 100%. But I don't think he was actually doing the directing. I do still think it was King. And I think it was I don't know if it was another producer or somebody on the crew said they never saw him doing they didn't see him doing any cocaine, but they did say he would be up at 8:30 for the call sheets already like 3 beers deep. And by 10 a.m. he had drank like 10 beers and he was just drinking all the time. So,
yeah,
you know, that's possible
called motivation.
Because he was, I mean, King has said he was a coke addict. He had a huge problem. So,
that's how we got Tommy knockers.
Wicked, what do you think? Do you think
Knocking on your
Romero?
door.
Do you think Romero did any actual directing, or do you think he was just kind of there? Because it doesn't feel like something another director would do either, to me.
I mean, it's hard to say. It reminds me of the whole, you know, like Poltergeist, Toby Hooper thing, where everyone was just like, "Oh, it's just like I guarantee it's like a little bit of both, but more that he asked him for advice and stuff like that." I can't imagine he took over and didn't ever say anything about it, or that King wouldn't just admit it, because
right.
Just be like, I had an issue, and thank God for Romero stepping in and doing what needed to be done. I feel like he would say that, you know, because you have to in the 12 steps.
Yeah, that's true. I did like the quote though from Stephen King. People would ask him, you know, why haven't you directed anything since Maximum Overdrive? And he'll respond with, "Have you seen Maximum Overdrive?"
Have you seen?
Which is
yes, and I love it.
Here's okay. I have a thought, and I'm curious what the three of you think about this. Do you think that this is intentionally made to be a B movie and made to be extra cheesy? Like, do you, or do you think he was actually trying to make like a straightforward horror movie and it just came off this way? So, Faye, you think it's the trying to make a straightforward and just not good at it?
Yes,
Wicked,
Fully.
what about you?
easily seen.
To be honest, it doesn't feel like a bad, not that B movie means bad movie, but like it feels like a movie from the 80s, like that any director who might also have been on coke, by the way, would have done. And I've seen so many of, movies of like lesser caliber and around the same thing. Look, basically it feels like an 80s movie, like of its
Sure.
time, and that cheesy horror. So
Dread, what about you? Because I guess the way I would frame
there
it,
were
like, and what I mean by this is, do you think he was making this intentionally satirical or not?
I would say so.
Yeah,
But that depends how much cocaine. But I feel like he
a lot,
did.
apparently, just a lot of cocaine. It just makes me wonder, because there are times where it feels like it's over the top for the sake of being over the top. The character of, who's the waitress? Wendy, I think is the waitress's name. Like
Wanda.
Wanda.
That was acting.
Who made who? We made you.
Yeah, it's the Stephen King character who is trying to become a cartoon, like actively in front of us, and just goes to, I mean, on a scale of 1 to a 10, the overacting is somewhere around an 18.
Yeah.
I mentioned that when I was watching it, and I said 50. They went to 50.
They started at 15.
She is jumping up and down. It's just like, it's amazing overacting. And you have we have all of our Stephen King tropes, right? The only trope we don't have is it being set in Maine. But there is a Maine license plate, I think, on one of the vehicles at some point. So he got that in there at least. But like you have your Bible thumper, the crazy, creepy religious dude who gets killed.
Eddie Arcadian from The Last Dragon. That's all I remember that dude as, and he was totally different in this movie.
Oh, you're right. I didn't make that connection, but you're right. That's who that is. Oh my god!
I never forget that guy ever.
But you've got the only thing missing also was Emilio Estevez's character isn't a writer.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know yet.
Well, that's
he
true.
could have become
Yeah,
one.
no, you're right. He could have been a writer on the side, on his own.
He was young.
I want to talk about this cast a little bit. So Emilio Estevez was not King's choice to play Billy. Stephen King wanted. Can you guess? If you haven't read the trivia about this movie, I want you. First of all, have any of you read trivia about this movie? Okay, that's no. Monica has. You'll go last then. Dredd, who do you think was Stephen King's choice to play Billy in this? I'll give you a guess. And it's wrong.
Is it Stephen King himself?
No.
Oh my god,
He's amazing.
Nobody does have his
his
cameo.
role was my favorite.
If you
this machine called me an asshole.
if you think I didn't capture that audio, you are desperately wrong, because I absolutely did. All right, Faye, how about you? Who do you think it was? Do you remember reading about that at all? Or do you
No,
have a
I didn't
guess?
see that in the trivia.
Okay, so what's your guess? It's going to be wrong, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's gonna be wrong.
Stallone.
No. All right, Wicked,
That would have
what do
been
you
great,
got?
though.
Stallone would have been amazing. Let's be honest. Stallone would have gone out and punched
Springsteen.
the face right off of the Green Goblin truck, is what Stallone would have done.
Yeah, it would have been done after that.
Yeah. We could say that one again because I talked over you a
Bruce
little bit. Sorry.
Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen.
Bruce Springsteen. I don't know why.
Was his first choice to play Billy. And
But wouldn't they use his music then instead?
well, we'll get to the music. But so that was his first choice to play him, and Dino De Laurentiis didn't know who Bruce Springsteen was. And so
The Boss. Come on.
well,
Maybe it was
Springsteen,
still early. I don't know when he came out.
but here's the thing, like Springsteen is very The Boss is very American, right? Like a lot of people in America. Dino De
Yeah.
Laurentiis is Italian. He's an Italian filmmaker. So he just didn't know who he was. He ended up wanting Emilio Estevez, so that's who we got. He's
It worked.
fine. There's nothing wrong with Emilio. Go ahead.
He's fine. He's fine. Can I give you the one character that I knew his name immediately, and then Dredd had to question me on?
Go for it.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes.
In the movie for 30 seconds, but
he's so young in this too. I forget that he was in this, and a year or two earlier, he was in Trading Places. In the same thing, he's in like a cameo. He's in the jail with Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
and
now I got to go back and watch that again.
And it's the same thing. You see him, and it's like, I had 1,000% forgot that Giancarlo Esposito was in this as the kid in the freaking arcade when he's just packing every pocket he has full of coins and cigarettes, like not even trying to be subtle about it. I love the 1980s when wearing a Twinkie in your hat was considered normal. Like he just had a Twinkie stuck in halfway in his hat, But yeah, I loved that one. There's a couple of smaller parts in this that were recognizable people that I had forgotten about. Apparently, I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. But like Frankie Faison shows up as the truck driver.
Yeah.
Handy. He's it's about all he does is show up as a truck driver, and then he's not really there for the rest of the movie. But I love him. One of the rednecks in the truck stop was played by Leon Rippey. He was kind of in the background. He has like 2 lines in the entire movie, but you've seen him in other things. He's been in a ton of stuff, and he's always just sort of like a guy in the movie. He's never, I can't ever think of anything outside of, there was a TV series that he played the main character's dad in. And like, but beside that, he's always like a secondary character in like everything I see him in. But he's great. He's got a great voice too. Pat Hingle as Bubba Hendershot, which is Billy's boss.
Bubba.
Anybody remember Pat Hingle as anything other than Commissioner Gordon? Because that's the only time I ever think about him is as Commissioner Gordon in the Tim Burton Batman films.
Oh my God, no! I haven't seen the Tim Burton Batman movies in a while, but I think Dredd has some quibbles with that character.
Oh, I mean,
why would you call everyone Bubba? Like, at first I thought he doesn't care about learning names, so he's calling people Bubba, like you say, you kid, boy, whatever. And suddenly they call him Bubba, or he calls himself Bubba on the phone, and I'm like, wait, what?
So
your name is
the only
Bubba.
name he can remember.
Yeah,
Why?
I have a theory about that.
He remembers Joey or whatever his name was as well. Somehow.
No, I have a theory about that actually, in that his given name isn't Bubba. It's something else, but he doesn't like that. He calls himself Bubba, and he calls everyone else Bubba. And
his car.
Yeah. Pat Hingle is great. He was a great character actor. He was always fun. This is such a weird, like, Stephen King tropey role, right? He is the shitty authority figure, but he's also like the horrible redneck. Because basically everybody in this movie is either a religious nut, a redneck, or our 2 main characters.
Well, this is the
and
kid.
the kid.
Yeah, and the kid. That's true.
And the kid, definitely doesn't belong there.
He just feels out of place, doesn't he? Like he feels like Midwest suburbanite child, but he's in the deep South. He's in North Carolina. But no, Pat Hingle apparently enjoyed being in North Carolina so much he moved there after making this movie and lived there until he passed away. Like he just lived there the rest of his life. So something to be said for that. He's just chomping on cigars the whole time and just being awful. He's terrible. He's such a jackass in this whole movie. Although
I'm sure the labor board would love to hear about him.
Yeah.
Work 9 hours, only get paid for 8? Nah, that ain't happening.
No, man. They got to do what he says, right?
Look,
A
he
gold
has one
star
of the
means you're
best
on
scenes.
parole.
Okay,
Okay.
it's one of the best scenes.
Back.
Okay, just showing up with a rocket launcher out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
It's like, I
like
literally I
America.
forgot that part, and I literally was like, "Wait, what now? What? What?"
I feel like in a more structured narrative, you would have had something establishing that he had a cache of weapons in the basement, and then he brings that out. But no, we find out about that because he shows up with a shoulder-mounted rocket launcher. He's hip firing.
But this was better.
It's
He's
pretty
just
known.
friends with Burt Gomer.
This was just okay.
I like
Yeah,
to.
he's friends with Burt Gomer. I mean,
Yeah, no doubt. They do like a cross-country exchange, right? One's out west. You got the West Coast, I'll take care of the East Coast. I do love that when he fires the rocket, though, it's like the rocket's on cloak because they didn't have the budget to actually fire a rocket. They just had the explosion happen on the truck. I love that.
And everything exploded.
So many things exploded in this movie. That was where most of the
Yeah,
budget.
there was that one.
The budget
That
was
one truck
cocaine
was
and
following the honeymoon people,
Uh-huh.
and that truck was already on fire before it crashed. And
I noticed.
just as it
Another
went
one.
over the hill.
Wait a second.
and then later they have an actual petrol truck leaking, and it doesn't explode.
Yeah. I was like,
I'm like,
okay, sure,
what?
why not?
Why?
I bought it.
Their rules don't apply to this world that this movie is taking place in, at all. Because
Can I bring up a Stephen Kingism
absolutely,
that I
feel
just
like
loved?
I need to make a sounder for anytime I do a Stephen King movie and any of his tropes, like the Red Alert, type sound, but for Stephen King. Maybe it'll be.
Yeah.
I'll figure something out. Anyway, your Stephen
Wait,
King is
just use this.
well, we haven't gotten to her yet.
Oh goodness gracious. But Stephen King really likes to kill children.
Doesn't he? Holy
Yes.
crap. Like, I was thinking
Like-
about that because we just had our GORE patron movie night, and we watched Dr. Sleep.
Dr. Sleep.
And that movie, it doesn't matter how many times I watch it, that scene with the baseball boy is rough. Like,
Yeah.
It's rough because of the way you're so conditioned when watching a movie. If a kid is like, "Are you going to hurt me?" and the person, even though you know that they're going to, you're so conditioned. I'm conditioned as an audience member for that evil person to say, "No, this won't hurt," or something like that. And so when the kid says, "Are you going to hurt me?" and Rose the Hat's response is, "Yes." Like, oh, geez, okay, all right. But did you hear about the behind-the-scenes thing with one of the child deaths in this movie? It was supposed to be worse.
No.
So the baseball field, the kids get done with their
Boy.
baseball game. Let me give a quick, for those who haven't seen the movie, don't worry about us ruining it for you. Like, it's still, trust me. But
It's
a comet,
visually enough to watch.
yes, a comet is passing by Earth, and Earth is caught in the tail of the comet right now. And because of that, machines are coming to life and basically just attacking people at random all over the place, all over the world.
Yeah.
So there's an opening scene with a bridge, and it starts to malfunction. But the baseball field, the kids get done with their baseball game, and the coach is like, "All right, everybody, sodas, I'm buying." And he goes over to the soda machine, puts in the coins, hits the button, nothing happens. Hits the button a few more times, nothing happens. Squats down to look into the slot where the soda's supposed to drop out, and it fires out at him. This is by the way, the second killer soda machine in a Stephen King thing.
In the balls.
Yeah,
Yes.
it first gets him in the balls to get him to fall over, and then unleashes on his face.
Yep, hits him in the face. It goes after all the kids. It's just like firing soda cans everywhere. The kids start to scatter. But in that scene, a steamroller comes rolling onto the field and starts to go out, and a kid gets caught, like falls down because he's riding his bike and then just suddenly falls off of his bike, and is laying there in
Yeah,
a steamroller.
What happened there? Get up and run now. No, just stand there.
Nah, accept your fate. It's over. That steamroller's moving too quick. But what Stephen King had wanted was he wanted a blood pack that would get rolled over with the dummy of the child, so that it would put a big spot of blood on the steamroller and then put that on the grass like a printing press. That was the shot he wanted to go for.
Cool.
Well, the problem was that the balloon full of blood burst early, and so it looked like the kid's head exploded. And
Amazing.
they got done shooting that, and Stephen King's like, I love it. And the censors said, you can't have it. And they made him take it out. So there's one frame. If you freeze frame it perfectly, you can see where that thing started to blow, and you can see just a little explosion of blood. But if you watch it again, notice how quickly they cut away from that. And there's like a couple other shots and stuff they cut away from early, because
Damn you censors.
The NPA was like, no child head explodey.
You can kill the kid. You can
Right, you
squash
run him
it.
over. That's fine.
But
Whatever.
that's too far.
Yeah. Kill multiple kids,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact. Just don't, show blood.
You can have a lawnmower chase after him.
But I want to just talk about this for just a second. Why do you think Stephen King likes killing kids so much in his stories? Because it happens a lot.
Everyone?
It's an easy target, easy to evoke emotion.
Okay.
That's because it's the truth. What I always get told when I say that I love horror movies, people who don't like horror, it's always like, oh, but it's fake. Think about what's really scary, like if something happens to your child or something happens to a kid or something like that. And it's like, well, yeah, I get what you're saying. It's not like I think these movies are real, by the way.
Right.
But it definitely evokes emotion, whether it's your child or not. It's just you want to protect the youngins.
I think too, like kids are, it's like kids and animals. They're vulnerable, right? They can't protect themselves the same way. Like dogs. The dog dying.
Yes!
It hurt.
But the way it died.
Oh, the way.
I had to make him
With a
rewind
toy
it.
police car.
He had to rewind it for me. But let me just say this also. I just want to point this out.
Yeah.
It's horrible when children die in movies.
Uh-huh.
It's really sad. It's emotional. Like, it gets me, right? But if you kill a dog or a cat, I am way more up in arms about that for some reason than I am about anybody else in the movie.
Listen, like easiest way to get me to hate a character in something is have them harm like a pet, an animal of some kind.
Yeah.
I was watching something recently, and somebody threatened a dog. Oh, I know what it was. It was in The Creator. So I went and saw The Creator. There's a scene there where a character picks up a dog and uses it as like a bargaining thing. He's trying to get information from a village full of people, and he grabs somebody's pet dog, and he's like putting a gun to it, like he's going to shoot the
my
dog
God.
if they don't tell him. And I was like, all right, so I want this guy to die. I want him to die horribly, and it better happen before the movie is done. Preferably in the next 10 minutes, but like I'll give you Act 3 if you want to make him last that. Because he threatened a dog. Like immediately. Immediate hatred towards whatever character. So filmmakers, that's an easy way to get me to hate them. Yeah, it's just I wonder if it's something where King is just he's the thing with him is he's not afraid to put children into those situations in his stories.
Yeah.
And I think that some writers, a lot of writers wouldn't go there, and he's just like, no, I just feel like there's a certain amount of bravery
Equal
there.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Like
there's
no
that too.
one's safe.
Yeah.
No one
Yeah,
is safe, and that is, like he's like considered one of the great writers of this time, right?
I would say so.
And that's the thing. As we go on further in time, MPAA rules are much different now than they were back in the 60s or something like that. So
Mhm.
we're becoming more, well, tolerant. No, not tolerant. You get my point. We're getting used to things. That's why movies are harsher. There's more blood. There's more violence. Everything is just, it's amped up compared to what it used to be.
There's a desensitized nature to everything.
That's the word I was thinking of. Thank you.
But yeah, it's just it's interesting to me that King has always, like from the beginning, not been afraid to do to do that with kids and put them in, like, there's a scene in It that isn't doesn't involve death, but it involves kids and stuff, and it's rough.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, I mean, number one, I know why it hasn't been in either film adaptation of It, because no, like,
It'll be in the next one.
I don't want it in there, but you know, he was like, he's not afraid to make you as a reader uncomfortable, and kids, because of the vulnerable nature, I think. So it's just something that I find interesting. But I'm glad you brought that up, because you're right. He just kind of has a thing for like putting kids in rough situations.
Yeah, having to watch those two movies back to back was kind of just, you know,
really showed
very
it, really
enlightening.
hammered it. Yeah.
Yeah, hammered it home.
Dredd played an audio clip of Yeardley Smith, her character of Connie, and her newlywed husband Kurt. But Yeardley Smith, if you don't recognize the name, I'm not sure how, but she's Lisa Simpson on The Simpsons for the last 150 years or however long that show's been on.
Yep.
And this was obviously pre-Simpsons, her in this. She has said in interviews she's embarrassed by this movie. Which, look, you did the movie. Just lean into it. Go for it. But, man, was her character annoying or what? Like, her character was there to be annoying. I understand that. Like, just scream a lot.
She was also incredibly smart.
Yeah, she was way smarter than her dumb husband.
She was really... Was she, though? I mean, he wanted to go help somebody, and she's just like, no, you're not going to.
I'm sorry. Have you not
Survival
seen a horror
instinct.
movie, by the way? Like, you never go help anybody. You never go try to...
None of
you
these
never
people
leave,
have seen a horror
separate from the
movie.
thing. But, like, that's what I mean. Like, she knew not to separate. She knew that was a bad idea. I mean, like, he lived anyway, but that's different. Like, she told him not to go to the thing with the people, which they shouldn't have, because... I don't know. They had a car, at least. They could
Going
try
to the
get
truck
away.
stop? Okay, so two things. One, their
Who knows?
car never became sentient. Why is that? I don't understand. I don't know the rules of the sentience of the machines.
Yeah, that's. I don't even want to get into that because
it's
I
like-
would. Yeah.
Well, it's not electronics. We know that because there's nothing electronic. There's no electronics in that soda machine. And these old vehicles didn't have anything running like we do
Electronics,
today.
yeah.
So that's not so it's machines, right? But if it's just machines, why aren't simple machines like everybody's bicycle? Like the one kid's bike, that's why I thought maybe like something happened with the kid's bike that made him flip over, which wouldn't make any sense, but then the other kid is able to ride around just fine. But their car and Hendershot's car was parked in the parking lot. Like all the cars that were parked already at the truck stop never became sentient and did anything.
Yeah, literally none of the cars, even the Bible guy's car,
Yeah.
like it didn't come, nothing like that.
And
No clue.
why did the gun on the roving platform become sentient, but none of the weapons in the basement became sentient
Yeah.
on their own? So
Is it only because it's attached to a truck?
it?
Maybe that's why it has to be a truck. Is that the rule? Also, here's my question. This is my problem.
Yeah.
The gas.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they need gas? They were
Why-
already being controlled.
Why
You're
did
telling
they-
me you need gas too?
Why did they need gas?
Still needed combustion from the
But-
fuel.
Running
I
in a
don't care.
circle, constantly using up their
Yep.
gas, so that they
Yeah,
didn't
Mhm.
ask
I get
for
why
it.
they
then-
needed gas.
And
I just
after
mean
they
like
get the gas, they kept circling again.
Mhm.
It's like,
you're that powerful to control these. You know what? Just whatever. Like it's just
I did like
you know.
so. Okay, another question. End of the movie, we get another title card that comes up that says, "The next day, a UFO was shot down by a Russian weather satellite that happened to be equipped with lasers and thermonuclear weapons. The comet left several days later." So, a UFO did everything and had nothing to do with it. Like the UFO was just hiding in the comet's tail, I guess. So it was aliens now? Is that what we're... So it wasn't like magically the trucks came to life. They were controlled by aliens. Were they invisible aliens? Is that what growled after the gun shot up the truck stop?
I was like,
Or,
why
or,
does
or
it come
before
out?
starting up the Joker or
Yeah.
the Green Goblin.
Was it an invisible
I
alien?
just like that was my thing. I'm like, look, in Jaws, I realize eventually you made the shark growl. Like that sharks don't growl, but
Right.
like, okay, it's an animal. It was a gun on a platform. How do you make that growl? Like that doesn't even make sense to me.
I know. But it was
It's
weird
okay. You can
because
just take care of it with a grenade.
most. Yeah, that scene. Ugh. Quick, I'm gonna talk to you and be like, "Don't worry, everything's fine." Random vehicle platform thing with a gun on it. I'm gonna talk to this guy for a second about something secret I don't want you to hear. Okay, what I need you to do, like he didn't even try to lower his voice.
Run.
And why did the one truck, the one truck moved its mirror so it could watch them early on in the movie? There's that shot of that, which conceptually as like just a shot, I thought, yeah, that's kind of cool, right? Like the truck moves its mirror and we get to see them and all that. It's the one truck that has eyes on it. It's the Green Goblin truck. It has anatomical eyes on the front of it and a face.
Anatomical.
That
Yeah,
glow
but it was
red.
behind it.
It's just
How are you
weird.
going to see without your side mirrors? I don't know, but I get you.
But like, then
Oh.
how did the platform gun Jeep thing? Which what the hell even is that?
Exactly.
And where did it come
None
from?
of this makes sense.
I've
But-
never seen it other than this movie.
Yeah, that's the only place I've ever seen it is literally a gun on wheels. Like, this is the most American thing I've ever heard of. Is let's combine an M60 with an internal combustion engine. Like we need to give this an engine.
Can we play a game?
Yes, we can.
It's what sound bothered Travis the most?
Oh,
Dread, what sound was it?
You play that? Oh,
No, I didn't clip that.
Thank
but
you.
Yeah, we just discussed a movie that had certain sounds in it that you mentioned.
mhm.
And we have this movie, and the first thing when we go into a toilet is like,
Yep.
Yeah, no, I
Smash.
and he kept doing it while the dude was talking to him.
so here's a couple of lines of my notes as I'm rewatching the movie. Hip firing an RPG. Sure, why not? More sound effects from the toilet. I really hate it. Because it was just awful.
And
like, no.
Look,
Although, I
they
will
cut
say,
away.
they cut away before he left the toilet.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say that little Joey or whatever the hell his name was, he wiped. All right?
No,
I don't
we
think
decided
he looked like
he's
a wiper.
not a wiper.
No,
Look at
he
him.
did not wipe.
I don't...
He is someone who feels uncomfortable wiping.
I feel like he would be uncomfortable not doing it. Like there's something ingrained in him that's like the one thing he does. He doesn't shower, but he wipes. Right?
I feel like this is what you want, not what the character is actually bringing to
Just
the
let
party.
me have this, please. 2 movies in a row.
Nope.
Let me just let me have this.
No.
By the way, did Yeardley Smith's husband, Kurt, did he look like not quite Haley Joel Osment to anyone else?
Yeah, he has that Osment head.
That same thing where like he kept growing as an adult, but his face didn't. Like
Yeah,
it
I
didn't,
could see that
It didn't
totally.
fill out with the rest of his head.
It was weird because they also had that kind of like they sort of look like each other thing too, which
Yes.
creeped me out.
There was an online review of Maximum Overdrive I watched where they made that joke. Like, wait, how is Haley Joel Osment playing 2 people in this movie? Because they did look slightly similar, but yeah, that was my other note.
Oh,
Was
sorry, Yeardley Smith.
was Lisa Simpson and not Haley Joel Osment. Yeah, boy. Then, so we have Emilio Estevez as Billy Robinson, and then random chick that shows up at the truck stop named Brett, who becomes the love interest of the movie because they're the only 2 that are in the same age bracket, I guess.
It was the weirdest, like, pickup flirting, let's fall in love line. Like, it was really dumb.
it was no
You're
chemistry
cute.
between the actors. Yeah, you're cute. Oh, am I?
No.
Well, not that cute.
Oh, okay. Why don't we have foot sex now?
Yeah. Yeah. Then they it's just they cut to commercial and came back and they were done having sex. And it was just
But their feet weren't.
wait a minute, when did this
Quentin
happen?
Tarantino watches this movie on the regular, by the way. You know that.
That was a Tarantino scene if ever I've seen one. Laura Harrington plays Brett. Why? What was her purpose in this movie? Like, what was she there
To
for?
change into the hot outfit.
Which, okay, so
Yeah,
here's
who's
the
there
thing.
to be pretty?
Here's the thing on that. Because I read this, and I believe this bit of trivia because it's Hollywood, and I hate this bit of trivia because I believe that it happened.
Oh, no.
Is Dino De Laurentiis saw the dailies of the first scene with her riding in the car and getting to the truck stop, and didn't like the fact that she was wearing jeans, and so had them put in a scene of her changing so that she could then spend the rest of the movie in a skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't even give her a good reason for it. It was just
No.
like, oh, that Bible guy touched me, and I don't want his smell on me.
Like,
Okay.
He's dead now, and I don't want his smell on me.
Could have just spilled a soda on yourself or something.
right, like I didn't like reading that piece of trivia because I'm quite certain that's exactly what happened, and that bugs me so
Well, yeah.
much.
They want the sex appeal.
And when I say why, like with her, the character just sort of is there and doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
Like
they it's almost like they forced a romantic interaction when there didn't need to be at all.
and they're very quickly comfortable with each other too. Like they've been together for a while when they met 15 minutes earlier.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
it just felt so weirdly out of place. And that's where too, like I
It
kind of
was
feel
destined to happen.
well, and that kind of comes back to my idea or my thought of like maybe this is intentionally a satire and it's meant to sort of poke fun at movies that do that. Just I don't know if that's sort of sugarcoating hindsight or not, but it just feels like there's a lot of decisions made by admittedly even coked out a very good writer. So I don't know. It's just weird. Also,
Can I ask a question?
yes.
You go ahead.
Well, I was just going to
Me
say.
first?
Let me get this out because
Fight.
Okay, go
we
ahead.
talked about Toilet Boy, who at one point there's a scene in the movie where he's standing next to Pat Hingle, and I think he just sort of like forgot what he was doing for a minute because he just kind of gets the 1,000-yard stare, like oh, the engine's running, but nope, nobody's behind the wheel for a moment. So him in the toilet, gross. Hate that sound. At least we didn't get any water noises. We just heard. We didn't get any plopping.
Oh, I thought I heard flopping.
Bible dude.
He reminded me of the dude that's with what's his name? Hey Vern, what's his name?
Oh,
Ernest.
Ernest.
You know, the other guy?
Oh yeah.
Not Ernest, but the other guy.
I know who
He
you're
kind of
talking
looks
about.
like a young him or something.
A little bit, yeah. Bible dude trying to sell his Bibles while he's eating his lunch. Dude, chew your food. Chew it.
Yes.
Maybe swallow. Maybe not talk with a mouth full of food. Like, it wasn't like he had a bite of something and he was trying to sell the Bible. He's like shoveling food in his face with one hand, holding the Bible with the other one, and his mouth is just, it's like falling out. It's like, dude, shut up, stop. No, I would have. Don't like that. I don't need a mouthful. I don't need food falling out of your mouth. Come on. What's happening
Absolutely.
to me? I don't know. I'm getting weird as I get older, I guess. But I had like it was a note I had. It's just like swallow your day, chew something, do something with the food instead of talking while it's going on.
Yeah, or
Bother
wipe your
me.
mouth.
Something. There's a napkin right there. Did anyone recognize the song the ice cream truck was playing? By the way,
No.
no.
Wasn't just a normal ice cream song?
No, it wasn't. I recognize this.
Was it an AC/DC song?
No, no, it's like one of two
That would have been
songs.
great if it was.
It would have been. It's one of like 2 songs in the whole movie that wasn't AC/DC. So they did the music for this, and I love the story that they Stephen King went to them to ask them to do the music for this movie, and he wanted them to also be in it, have like a cameo or something, and they turned him down to be in the movie because they're like, we're not actors. But he wanted
Perfect.
yeah, I know it would have fit in just fine. But he wanted their music anyway, and so trying to convince them, he sang an entire AC/DC song from one of their older albums, and they were like,
Nice.
"All right, sure," and they did the music, and they wrote all the music for this, and they put out an album called "Who Made Who" after the movie came out. That was basically the soundtrack, but it only had a small little like music from Maximum Overdrive on it. So some stores were marketing it as just an AC/DC best of, like greatest hits, because it had some of their older songs too. And it wasn't. It was meant to be the soundtrack for this movie. So I love the fact that they used AC/DC. It fits.
Yeah,
The
it
feel.
There was the AC/DC van too.
Yeah, at the beginning on the bridge.
Oh yeah, in the beginning.
See, that's where I think you would have had like Angus driving it or something, or Brian Johnson driving the AC/DC van. I think that would have been great. And I think in hindsight they should have done it. Like, you don't have to be actors, just you're going to do a cameo basically as yourselves anyway. But I love that they did the music, because I love AC/DC anyway, but it fits the cheesy feel of this whole movie.
Can I tell you the funniest part?
Yes.
Dred's like, where are those bells coming from?
They're
And I
hell.
was like, I think it's that song. Because it took a really long time for the song to come through while you're watching the thing. So the characters kind of look like they're reacting to the bell. Like,
They do a
it's
little bit,
something.
don't they? Yeah, the intro for Hell's Bells is pretty long. Because it is
Yeah.
just
Like
that
3
bell
years.
for like 2 or 3 strikes of the bell before anything else kicks in. So the ice cream truck, and as I read trivia, there was like 3 trivia entries that mentioned this in IMDb, but the ice cream truck was playing a tune, and I'm like, I recognize that. Why do I recognize that song? Because it didn't sound like the traditional kind of ice cream truck calliope type music that you hear. So I'm going to play what the ice cream truck sounded like in the movie, and then I will play you the song that they were using the melody for. So this is the ice cream truck. It's a little tough with the engine noise, but I'm going to play you the first part of this song. You tell me it's not the same melody.
Trailers for sale or rent, rooms to let 50 cents.
It's a song called King of the Road. And for whatever reason, I know the beginning of that song. And so when I heard it from the ice cream truck, you hear it again. There's a little bit clearer clip probably later on in the movie, but I didn't have time to clip it. Right at the end when the ice cream truck just shows back up for whatever reason. And
It's ice cream time.
yeah.
to get blown up.
Mighty Tasty. Which I want to do that on
That's a
on
good
an ice
name.
cream truck.
Okay.
That effect, the explosion and the truck flipping over, that was supposed to like flip end over end, but it didn't work. So it just landed on its hood, on its roof, and slid. I think it looks better the way that it ended up.
Look.
Like, that was a happy accident. The way that
Before it
exploded.
blew up, they were shooting at it. The bullet, the effect they did on the bullet hitting the truck. I was like, oh, are we gonna see some electricity thingy?
Yeah, it did. It really looks like electricity.
That was not good.
No, they there was some budget constraints you could see in the movie, for sure. That was one of them. No, the thing with it is, like, it's such a dumb movie, but I have so much fun watching it. I don't like it's one that I enjoy the hell out of because of how dumb it is and how bad it is. Faye, I know you agree with me.
Oh yeah. Is it a good movie? Not objectively. It's fun as hell and great to enjoy.
All right, what were you gonna say?
I like the way you say that. I was gonna say we didn't mention the psycho-like strings whenever the people were murdered by trucks.
Yeah.
That was just really jarring and terrible. I'm just saying. It was
They
really
grew on you, though.
There were
Like,
some
like you have them in the beginning of the movie multiple times, and you're like, oh, why? And then you don't hear them for like an hour. And then at the end, they show up again. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I missed them. Well, I did. I'm sorry.
The man, I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was going to say.
Oh, you did a Monica.
I kind of did. No, there's just like there's something about the cheesy nature of everything in this that makes it really enjoyable to watch. Like the silly, over-the-top performances of Pat Hingle and Ellen McElduff, who played Wanda. I have audio of her. Trust me. But it's just so weird. Like, it's just such a weird concept for a movie, even for a Stephen King movie. Like, he'd already done Christine. He'd written that. That had been a movie already by the time this came out, right? Christine was like 83? 84?
I don't remember.
83, I think.
And you know, so like he'd already done a Killer Car, but
Salem's Lot.
It's just such a weird idea for a movie to get fleshed out, and it feels like I both want a better quote version of this, and yet I kind of don't at the same time. I just want it to be this weird 80s time capsule.
Well, good thing they made a better version for you in the 90s.
Are you talking about the made-for-TV movie Trucks?
Trucks, starring
No,
Timothy
thank you.
Busfield. Get it, Timothy Busfield?
Wait a minute. Can you say starring and Timothy Busfield in the same sentence? Does that work?
Leave Timothy Busfield alone. He
Okay.
played Poindexter in Revenge of the Nerds.
I know.
And I loved him then.
I liked
And then
Timothy
he- wait a minute.
Busfield.
Am I getting him confused? But is he in the It TV movie one?
Yes.
Or is that? Yeah. See,
He's also in Field of
See?
Dreams. He was on 30-something. Yeah, I know. I like Timothy Busfield.
I know. I was saying,
Joking.
I was thinking Stephen King. I didn't realize how much Stephen King he had done.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Did an episode of The Night Shift. I think that's based on King stuff, isn't it? Recently?
Yeah.
The 2015 series?
I haven't seen that.
I haven't either. But
I
I'm
have to
just
see that.
looking through and I'm seeing that he popped up on there. I've actually never seen Trucks, believe it or not. So
Me neither.
Aha!
You don't
Wait,
want-
you
Wait, you
haven't,
haven't
seen next year.
No.
Can't be
No,
that bad.
it was. Oh, yes, it is.
it makes me worried when Faye is saying something is that bad that I shouldn't watch it. Because I have seen her DVD collection, and I know
Hey!
the types of movies, so it worries me to hear you say that, is all I'm saying.
No. It should worry you when Dredd says something is bad. Faye is.
Hey.
No offense, Dredd, but let's be honest, okay?
I mean, yes, you're not wrong there. I'm going to agree completely, but I've yet to hear him. Well, I guess Thanksgiving we agreed was awful and shouldn't ever be watched by anyone ever again.
I mean, we do need to watch the sequel.
Do we though?
No,
I mean,
no,
do
we
we?
don't.
Yes.
Because I don't really think we do. I think we could probably. I could live a long and fruitful life without ever seeing the sequel to that. I do have some audio clips if you want to hear them from this movie. This was
fine.
a very good clippable movie. I love opening it up with the movie immediately telling the audience to F off, like the marquee above the bank.
Amazing.
And then
And they zoom in on it just in case you missed it.
in case you didn't notice. And then the ATM, which is 1986. I think they filmed in 85. So those were still fairly new.
Really?
But yeah, those were kind of an early 80s thing, I think is when they really got started. But I love every Stephen King adaptation has to have the Stephen King cameo in there somewhere, right? He's got to show up in most of them anyway. And so he walks up, and first, I love this.
Come on over here, sugar buns.
It's just, you don't see anyone else when he walks up to the ATM. That's the best part, is she's completely off frame, and then it's the camera pointing at him, and he says that, and I just love that. And then, of course, his only other line.
This machine just called me an asshole.
Really?
Over and over and over and over.
I just want to point out that I had a crush on Stephen King when I was younger, like young Stephen King.
He is
younger
a
Stephen King.
unique-looking person. Let's put it that
I
way.
like odd-looking men.
Until he had a son, and now he's not unique looking because there's two of them.
What is interesting is the trailer for the movie has him with a full beard when he's talking about how he wanted Stephen King done right, but in his cameo, he's clean shaven. He's got those thick Coke bottle glasses that he wears.
Oh yeah,
Like those
with the flip ups.
How he doesn't just like melt his eyes when he looks up at the sun, I don't know, because those are some thick lenses. But I have always found Stephen King to be a weird looking dude. Like he just has a creepy look about him. It's fine.
I have a type.
No, it's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying when he can play, like a lot of times his cameos, especially I remember the one from Langoliers, and he just was very creepy in it. He just has
I've not
that
seen
look.
that, so
You remember Langoliers? Oh wait,
Ew.
no. Langoliers is good. Shut up.
You're thinking of Tommy
Yes, it
Knockers.
was.
Yes, I was trying to do the.
that's what you did to me because I was like, I mentioned Langoliers, and you're like, that sucks. And then later on, I made another comment about it, and you're like, oh, I love that movie. I'm like, but you told me it sucked. You're like, oh, I bet Tommy Knockers.
Yeah,
But I've not
Langoliers
seen
was
like-
really good.
I love Langoliers. So.
Yes,
All right, I'll watch
I have a
that.
soft spot for that, especially like the first 85% of it.
Yeah,
There's a
Yeah.
the ending, but that's like insert Stephen King property here. The ending typically kind of but yeah. So
Just like the ending for this movie.
where it just
well,
sort
this
of,
movie didn't follow the ending of the story, though.
the thing is, like the movie just sort of stops. They're just like, well, all right, we're done.
Oh, yeah.
And he had done that earlier.
it-
The scene, the lawnmower scene. You mentioned the lawnmower coming to life and chasing the kid, and that was like, I'm pretty certain that had to have been the censors that made him cut something. But that scene literally just chopped. Like the music is building, and all of a sudden it's people sitting around a table and completely different music, and I got whiplash from the change. I wasn't prepared for it, and it sort of like the way the movie ends. The movie's just like, well, I guess we're done, and the survivors survived. They went to Haven.
Oh, you need to just watch Lawnmower Man for the other scene, and
No, Dead Alive.
yeah.
Um,
No, it's based on a short story, so most of his short stories just end because
Yeah.
they're short stories.
that's how
So,
shorts work.
even though they didn't follow the ending in this movie exactly, they still followed the whole like, well, they're done. We told the
They
story.
got onto the water. They're away from electronics. Nothing can hurt them now.
Yeah.
So they
Oh, yeah.
survive.
They're on a sailboat with no motor, right? Pulleys aren't
Mm-hmm.
like simple machines apparently aren't affected, right? Pulleys. and-
They actually wanted to do the sequel where they're on a boat and they're just being circled by other ships, circling them
Other boats
all the time.
that want wind.
See, but they didn't show boats. They only show boats. They did. They only showed trucks and certain equipment. Like cars were fine, so maybe boats were fine.
The planes were evil too. So
Yeah, I
that's
said
true.
planes. didn't I?
Yeah.
Planes were
Yeah,
evil.
one went into the school bus.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
the retired school.
I'm just saying, if cars were fine, I think boats were fine. This is my theory.
No.
Like you can't prove anything, so prove it you can.
All right, another audio clip is Emilio Estevez. Now I'm going to play this, and then I want to know if any of you remember the ad campaign.
I just hope none of them left home without their American Express cards.
Of course.
Don't leave home without it.
They
We're-
they even made that joke in Friday the 13th Part 6 when the girl's American Express like floats out of her hand after she
Oh.
dies.
Left home without it.
I mean, I remember that campaign mostly from What's that baseball movie? Major League.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's
Major
right.
League. I love that movie.
So I captured that, and of course, there's a laugh. So I have that now. Just the most ridiculous. You do that really well. Okay, Wanda. Wanda.
Oh, goodness gracious, lady.
The one that went off her rockers.
We meet Wanda when Frankie Faison's character Handy comes in, sits down asking for a cup of coffee, and she's messing with the radio. She says something, and I want to know if you heard what I heard. All right, so I'm going to play this, and then I have a question for you.
Oh, this was going to be my question, but go ahead.
Okay, this was. Oh, good. Well, then it works out perfectly.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's the sound.
Well, this thing was working just fine a few minutes ago, and now I can't get Pete Turkey on it.
All right, so, Dread?
No, I can't. I
Nothing?
beat the fifth or whatever it is you call it.
Faye?
Pete Turkey.
All right. Wicked?
P Turkey.
Okay, thank you. That's what I heard. Pete Turkey.
Not just what I heard though. It's in the subtitles.
Oh, okay.
Because I watch everything with subtitles. Made no sense to me, but I wrote it down.
I don't get
I was gonna ask you.
I don't know. I can't get Pete
Maybe I should
Turkey
have
on
looked it
it.
up.
I should have too, but that one just, I was so confused by that line. Like, I didn't know if I heard it wrong, but apparently we all heard the same thing, and the subtitles confirm it. Pete Turkey. Couldn't get Pete Turkey on it. All right, sure.
If you take enough cocaine, that makes sense to you.
Yeah, I guess. And then we can't talk about Wanda without talking about her flipping her lid. And first, so she got attacked by the electric knife. By the way, who had an electric knife like that growing up? Anybody? Because I did. Okay, good. Faye, Wicked, you both did. Dread's looking at us all like, what's this weird American thing you're talking about? I remember having one of those.
How else do you carve up the turkey for Thanksgiving?
We don't do Thanksgiving, so there.
Carving your turkey.
I mean,
your
but
hams.
you eat turkey, right?
We actually used ours for bread too. We had a bread maker, and we would use the electric
Yes,
knife. Yes,
I know them from cutting bread, so that I do know.
Don't know that I remember ever seeing one in a deli or like a diner setup like that. It's a weird place to have that because you're not going to be roasting whole turkeys or anything. But yeah, that was
just needed a way to have it attack.
I got the answer, by the way.
Oh, please.
Real-time research. P Turkey is a Southernism meaning nothing, nada, zip, zilch.
Interesting.
Okay.
I'll have to look that up and know why it's Pete Turkey. But thank you.
P.
Like
green pea.
Ah, see, I heard Pete. Like Pete Turkey.
No, P.
P Turkey.
P Turkey.
Okay.
It's like P hyphen turkey. I don't know.
Interesting. Well, hey,
Stephen King is known for his Southernisms.
Yeah, totally. Yes. All about Southernisms. Well, good. Thank you for looking that up. Now I know. We all learned something tonight. Yes. But she gets attacked by the knife, cuts her hand, cuts her foot. Later on, no ill effects from that. She's drinking a beer, slamming the beer bottle on the counter or on the table when it breaks, which got to be pretty strong to do that. Like the way that she was slamming that beer bottle down, it shouldn't break that easily, so a little scared of her. But then she decides, no, they can't attack us. Why?
Because we made them.
Yeah. We made them. And then she goes outside.
I think she may have gotten in touch with the Coke.
And this is where it goes well over the top. Because she runs out and... All right. I have acted in some amateur movies. Wicked, I know you have acted at least once. A decision was made by this person.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And then it was signed off for by a director and put to film, and then we saw it. And wow, is all I have to say about that. She went for it. She's just all up in there. But she runs out yelling at the trucks that are circling the truck stop.
You can!
and then just yelling that over and over. It's pretty fantastic.
Just for the people, this audio clip does not do it justice. You need
really
to
doesn't.
look at it. You need to see her act.
Because her whole body is into it. She is contorting her. She almost bends herself completely backwards at one point, and then she's jumping up and down, and the camera is moving with her. It is unreal how amazingly overacted that moment is. And then
She was losing her tortillas.
and Billy comes out, grabs her, pulls her back inside, and she's fine for another half hour of the movie before apparently just decides it's time to go out and yell at the trucks again, because she does it a second time and goes slightly
This time
worse
with the
second
rocket
time.
launcher.
I guess she brought the rocket launcher for moral support, because she didn't mean, she didn't even mean to fire it. She just she doesn't fire it until after she's shot.
Good aim, though.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, those rockets, they're cloaked again, right? So they just hit their target automatically.
Yes.
They're like magic missiles.
They're also intelligent. They're alive.
That's what. Yes. But no, Wanda. Wanda was pretty great. I do like when the truck first moves, and they're like, "How the hell did that happen?" And they're like, "Handy, isn't that your truck?" And Frankie Faison.
But it must have been a hot wired champagne.
I love
Champagne.
Champions.
We my fantasy football league, our manager always does that. He will over enunciate champagne, and he will type it out that way in like league stuff, and it cracks me up every time. But I just hot wire champagne. That feels like a song.
I was just laughing at that scene because you just have a truck, this guy's truck, try to run over someone and come to a stop a little further, and they're all inside looking like, "Oh, is that your truck? I don't know what happened."
That was weird.
Like, wouldn't you go and look at it, like investigate?
Well,
Because
yeah, they send Billy out to do that.
but you should do that.
But they stand there for like 30 minutes looking
They're
at it
just
like,
looking at it and like, "Huh,
What we
isn't
didn't
that
get,
yours?"
what we didn't get was the scene of them like drawing straws to see who's going to go check the truck, because they're like, somebody should go look at the truck. Well, Handy, it's your truck. Hell no, I ain't going out there. And then just like them arguing for half an hour before finally Billy's like, "Fine, I'll go." Go to check the little.
Yeah, it seemed any progress the film made was because of Billy.
Kind of, yeah. I don't. This one just says the old. I don't remember what this was, so we'll find out together.
See, it's like the old joke. You can't get there from here.
Yeah, you know that old chestnut. You can't get there from here. Billy, you forgot the setup for the punchline.
It's an old joke. Everyone
we all know
knows
that old
it.
joke, right? Everyone knows that one. I had no clue what he's talking about. Not a one. We got a
Is it the chicken crossed the road because it couldn't get there from here? I don't know.
Actually, it just might be.
Thank you.
Works as good as anything else. We got a title drop though. Halfway through the movie. From this is why Brett was in the movie, right? That's the character's whole point was to.
That's what I was doing before every machine in the world went into maximum overdrive.
Roll credits.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a cat. We got a Volkswagen.
Yeah.
We got a title drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got people doing stupid stuff.
Just a little.
Just most of
the script is what I like to call that.
Every decision
they had fun in the sewer.
But every decision the characters made in this movie was wrong.
No, that's my scene when he's just like, "Oh, you think there's whatever in this water?" And then Amelia like splashes into the thing. He like falls in and he's like,
"How did
that
timing?"
Oh,
yeah.
so gross.
No, that's.
Hey, I'm sending a friend back to you.
And the thing about that is, it's a shower drain, so it shouldn't be like it's not quite. That wasn't quite sewer, but still, it's a drain, which is nasty. It's all that nasty shower water going down there.
Yeah, Some people pee in the shower, you know.
Well, yeah, no, it's a
Could be
perfectly
a little
convenient
urine.
drain right there.
Yeah, why wouldn't you? I think people who think it's weird to pee in the shower are weird themselves.
I actually
That's
agree.
all I'm saying.
Oh, not quite. Haley Joel Osment had one of the better lines in the movie, though. And it was right after they nearly hit another vehicle. And then he responds with,
I think I just loaded my pants.
I love that line.
oh,
Well, that's
so good.
that's when they're turning around and running away from the truck.
Yeah.
I just love that she kept yelling at him that like it's his fault. That is his head. I shouldn't let you drive. What would you
Well,
do
it's because
different?
she was in the previous scene driving.
Yeah, but what would she do different if a truck is ramming you from behind? What is it's his fault? No.
Yeah.
She did tell him to get it to stop following him, and he did.
I love
it
that.
did.
That
It
was
exploded.
That was
Perfect.
great. Get it to stop following us. How? So he just casually moves to the right, and that's all it took. That was another one.
zagged
In
at
the,
the
Move to the right and then zip to the left.
yeah, he's like,
he
hang
was
on.
also amazing. He was also amazing later when he's, how are we getting there? There's a gap. And then misses the gap completely.
So dumb.
By that much.
Gonna measure it properly.
Well,
Less-
I blame it on the horsepower of the car. It wasn't strong
Sure.
fast enough.
Sure.
That's why it didn't become sentient. It didn't have a big enough engine in it.
There you go.
There we go.
Now we're figuring it out.
Well, but what about the lawnmower?
Yeah. Okay. Broken.
Lawnmower, the electric saw.
I had
or
something.
knife.
Little
and
police
you just
car
took it right away
toy.
from me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The steamroller.
We're back to
The
not
soda
knowing.
machine. The soda
No,
machine
steamroller
doesn't have
takes a
an
lot
engine.
of engine power to move because
Right.
those things are heavy.
That steamroller needs a big engine. It doesn't move fast, but last
Fast
one.
enough.
Yeah, that one was moving quick. That steamroller was booking. And then the final audio clip I had was this one.
You unbelievable shithead.
So I pretty much just
Well,
wanted,
yeah, I mean,
wanted to have that for a soundboard at some point, for sure. But there were a lot of like off-screen deaths in this too that you just get like the aftermath of. Jeff Gann in the chat mentions the lady killed by the hairdryer because they're going by the kid's riding his bike through the neighborhood. And there's just somebody hanging out a window, and you can see like hairdryer hanging next to them with the cord wrapped around her neck, or you just see some
Hair was dry though.
yeah
So.
legs like sticking out of a bush somewhere, of just like random people.
One guy with a chainsaw in his neck.
Yeah, that was the fun one.
the Walkman.
Yep.
Oh, that was a
The
giant
bleeding ears.
man.
Well, it was 86. They were that big back then.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Or 85 when they were filming it. Whatever.
We mentioned the dog earlier, but that's just really sad.
It was. I mean, it was obviously a stuffed dog that they used. Like clear, like but
you mean they didn't use a real one, Travis?
There wasn't that
very,
much cocaine.
Very clearly a stuffed dog. Like it didn't look super realistic either, but still, dog got killed by a toy car, which is terrible.
At least it wasn't a half dog.
Fair.
Oh God, yeah. That's just torture.
I will say that so they had a lot of problems with the RC, the radio controlled trucks in this breaking down a lot. And I guess like they would break down and then they would fix them and another one would break down. But it looked pretty good. Like they were able to move those vehicles around, and I think there's only like one time where you see I think it's the wrecker when Connie and Curtis first stop for gas at the different gas station and that wrecker truck comes at them. I think supposedly if you watch after it hits the building, you can see somebody running away from the truck like they were driving it and they just hopped out and ran off or something. But for the most part, I mean, a lot of the shots of those trucks moving around and there's nobody in it. There's nobody sitting in it. Mm-hmm. So that worked. And I thought that was kind of cool.
Wonder if they used the Knight Rider method.
Oh, just somebody sitting way low? Like sitting below frame?
Inside the seat.
Oh, yeah.
Inside the seat.
Too. Oh.
I'm sure they probably used at least some of that. So, No, it sounds like we kind of have a consensus of like it's not a good movie, but it's a fun movie.
I liked it. Yeah.
Fun and enjoyable.
Yep.
It's exactly the right amount of bad to be good.
Yes, it has.
And that main truck
Right.
looks like the poster, the main truck, the face thing. It looks awesome.
Goblin.
And
Yep.
the end scene where it explodes, that looked good.
Mhm.
Like the face lights up a little and you have the flames.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They-
That was
Creepy
awesome.
eyes.
I don't know.
I did like
Go ahead.
one of the trivias. Apparently, they had to build the set for
Oh, yeah.
Dixie,
I was just about to mention this.
and apparently it looked so good that actual truck drivers were going there.
Truckers were stopping off at the truck stop, and they're like, no, this is just a set. I also like that they were able to work in set demolition into the movie. I mean, how nice is that for them? Like, they got to tear that down anyway, so might as well film it. But I love that where they're
And kaboom!
It is funny that the trucks waited like 12 hours to attack. Because it was like they left at night, and it was the next morning, and the trucks finally decided, all right, let's go and attack the truck stop. But I really enjoyed the explosion stuff in this. Like, it's just a lot of things blowing up for whatever reason, but it all looked good. I appreciate that.
Jeff Gann brings up the best line in the movie that we can't say on the show, but
Yep.
Emilio Estevez's basic
Adios.
Jaws moment.
Yep.
Adios, muchacho.
Yeah, we'll go with that. That's the,
All right, I like to say mother fluffer.
Yep, Mother Scratcher. That's another good one.
Melon farmer. I heard that in a movie once. I was like, what? What is this editing?
That might be the greatest ADR replacement ever, is Melon Farmer. I remember watching, I caught Die Hard on like USA or something one night, and they had Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon. But here's the best part about it. Usually in those movies, the actual actors will go in and record all of their lines for ADR to dub, stuff like that. That was not Bruce Willis that said Mr. Falcon. It sounded like it's a completely different voice, and it's so obviously ADR'd. It's hilarious. So that was one of my favorites ever. But Melon Farmer, I'm going to start using that. That's a good one. Because that is a great line. Like, it's not Smile, you son of a bitch. It's not quite that good. Like, it's not quite Roy Scheider, but adios, Melon Farmer. You know what? It works before he blows up that truck. I mean...
And there were a lot of melons in this movie. Just
Oh, yeah, people got killed by watermelons in the
Yeah.
beginning.
see,
Yep.
full
That's like,
circle.
All falling off the bridge. Yep.
That... Oh, okay, the opening scene on the bridge, though, I liked that. That was really cool. Like,
Beautiful.
it was so well staged, and just everything in it was great. I loved that as an opening.
Can't you see we have a situation here? Oh, what?
The two rednecks playing rummy.
Yeah, I was like, I watched that, and then the next scene, it's the two guys at the gas station. I'm like, I feel like we just have the same two guys repeated again.
They're the minstrel. They're the wandering minstrels in a Shakespearean play. It's just the two rednecks all over the place. Now this movie is super
The
fun.
bridge is
And
going up.
You can watch it online for free on Pluto. It's got ads, but it's there to watch. It's an hour and a half long, so it's not super long. Just park your brain, enjoy the dumbness that is this, and all the Stephen King tropes. I kind of wish he would have tried directing again in some ways, just to... I think he said in recent years, like, I wouldn't mind having another crack at it if I'm sober. Like, not coked out of my
My one
mind.
stipulation,
Yes.
if he can work with, who's the dude that directed the other thing that we like, with the Flanagan
Romero?
guy.
Oh, Flanagan?
If
Yeah.
he can do it with Flanagan together, I would be on board with that.
Man, I tell you what, Mike Flanagan, I used to think Frank Darabont was the only director I trusted to do a good adaptation of Stephen King. But it's now Frank Darabont and Mike Flanagan. Like, if one of those two with the name Stephen King attached, I'm in, because Darabont did The Mist, he did The Green Mile, he did The Shawshank Redemption. Like, that guy knows how to make a good adaptation. He just gets. And I'm with you. I would love a collaboration with Stephen King and Mike Flanagan working together on something. Kind of like Sin City, right? Rodriguez and Frank Miller, where Robert Rodriguez wanted to get that movie made and knew that having Frank Miller a part of it was about the only way you were really going to do it justice. I kind of feel like you could do something similar there, where because there is some Stephen King stuff that's really hard to adapt, and I think having him as part of it could help. I'd be up for that. I'd be up for seeing that.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do that more often, like, just in general. I mean, they get him to go do cameos and stuff, so ask him some questions.
It's tricky, too, because, like, the Sin City situation, Robert Rodriguez had to leave the Directors Guild in order to make that movie, because the Directors Guild of America has stipulations that you can only have one director. There are exceptions that get made, like, but for the longest time, when the Coen brothers would make a film, Joel Coen would be credited as the director, and Ethan Coen would be credited as, writer and producer, because they couldn't both, even though they both were directing, they couldn't both be credited.
That seems dumb.
It is kind of dumb in some ways, but that's why you get situations where, like, David Lynch's Dune, where he's disowned the movie, but he got the credit anyway. Even though he wanted to be credited as Alan Smithy. That's where the whole Alan Smithy thing came from, is like the whole idea of a director not wanting to be credited for their film for whatever reason, because things got changed. But you'll see that happen sometimes, where a director will come in and reshoot things, but they don't get credit for that. One of them was The 13th Warrior is famous for that, where Michael Crichton actually came in after, late in the process, they fired John McTiernan. He did a bunch of reshoots, restructured a bunch of things, but it's all uncredited because the DGA said, no, John McTiernan gets the credit. So I think that's a part of it, that you don't see more kind of collaboration like that. But I'd like to see that get loosened a little, because there are exceptions. You see, like, the Hughes brothers, where it'll be two directors that work together, or the Wachowskis. So they can make exceptions. Just let people make the damn movie they want. All right? But I understand some of it, too. So it's weird. But anyway, Maximum Overdrive, super fun. I'm glad, Monica, you finally got to see it.
Yes, me too. My collection is almost complete.
It was one, when you said you hadn't seen this one, like, we have to do this. Like, we just have to. Because this felt like a you movie. Because I know, like, knowing your love of 80s horror films and the cheese that can come with those, like, and Stephen King, it just felt like the type of thing that, it's why it surprised me when you said you hadn't seen it. And Faye was like, didn't we watch that together? But apparently we didn't. So, but now you have. Now you've seen it. Check it off the list. It's good to go. And we have begun Spooktober on the show here. Now,
yay!
The four of us, if you like this show, this episode, and you like this conversation, the four of us do all horror, all the time on the GORE podcast. Tell people about that, Monica. Those that don't know.
It's a horror podcast. Yes, so we do a horror podcast. It's twice monthly, or every 2 weeks, or however you want to say that, bi-monthly, however you like it. And we just talk about horror movies. But kind of like just what we did here, but a little less
a little less ADD, a little more structured, but we also talk about
a little more ADD there, right?
Depends.
A little
Depends
less
on the sections, but
all right, I just got confused which way you meant that, and the ADD's on GORE, just so you know, or the ADHD, I should say. But yeah, it's a good show. I like it, and you should listen to it. You can check it out at I forgot to remember where it is. I mean, you can get it anywhere. It's on Spotify. GORE.
GOREpodcast.com.
Yes.
You know what? Because it changed. Because it's no longer Anchor anymore. It's just literally like Spotify.
Yeah.
So, but you can look it up in any podcatcher. It's just Gore. It's the top one. We're the top one now.
All
I think.
right.
Actually, we might be the second one.
But also there's gorepodcast.com. You can go to the website and then find
Oh.
it from there.
Yes. Thank you, Bombi. We have
Yes.
a website. It's a beautiful website.
I like too on that show that we also talk about like upcoming stuff, movie news, and like video games, books. If we've read a horror novel or horror stories or anything like that, or played some horror games, so it's not just movies, but we always have the movie kind of at the center.
Yes. We get a lot more personal in that show as well because we talk about ourselves and things like that. If you like that, if you don't, sorry.
Basically, if you liked this last hour plus of conversation, check out GORE, GORE, GORE Podcast. We've got Patreon for that, so you can join us once a month for patron movie nights. If you join in the month of October, anybody at any level gets to join the movie night. Typically, that is restricted to higher levels of the Patreon.
Yeah, the Hellraiser level or higher.
Yep. But
on the regular.
But for the month of October, all patrons are allowed in. So
yes, it's like our yearly annual party.
Yeah.
Come and join us.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a couple of years now, and it's a lot of fun. So definitely check that out.
We have fun. Should we just tell them what the movie is, or do we keep it a surprise?
We can tell them this year. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what it is? Did I tell you already?
No.
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, I guess I told you. We're going to be watching Halloween 3. Oh, yeah, I did tell you.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
So if you want to watch Halloween 3, Season of the Witch with us, all you got to do is be a patron. You can come watch it with us.
The best Halloween movie.
Second best.
Yes. What?
Not the best.
Oh, not the best.
Second best, but we'll fight about that later.
Yeah, you'll hear us argue on that, too. So if you like to see a fight and fisticuffs, a kerfuffle. That's my new favorite word.
I like a Donnybrook myself. Donnybrook or a slobberknocker is another good euphemism for a fight.
But kerfuffle's got like a fluffy sound in there.
It does. No, kerfuffle's good. Kerfuffle's good. But we're not done this month either. We are all month for Wait You Haven't Seen. The three of you are going to come back. We're going to keep doing more movies.
Wait, you're inviting us back?
I am. You know what we're going to do next week? Chud. Because I have never seen that.
I have never seen that before.
All right.
I have never seen that before.
Well,
I'm the only one that's seen it.
Oh boy.
I've been meaning to see it for a really long time, and
so 3 of the 4 of us are going to be watching Chud for the first time, and checking that out. And that'll be next week on this show. Now, this show, Wait You Haven't Seen, does stream live and record Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/TVsTravis. You can watch it live, hang out in our chat room like Acefer, like Jeff Gann. It comes out as a podcast on Wednesdays, anywhere you get your podcasts. YouTube, also a video version, goes up on there as a podcast. You can check that out. Search for Wait You Haven't Seen, or on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@TVsTravis. Really trying to grow that channel, so subscriptions there help a ton. And likes on the videos help a ton too. So I appreciate that. If you go to tvstravis.com, Bombats, who made the GORE podcast website, also helped me design my website because, well, he's my favorite German. And he's a great person. And so on there, you can find links to my merch page and my Patreon for this show, and everything that I do. For as little as $1 an episode, you can support the show that way as well. And I do monthly movie nights for my back catalog of 236 movies that I have watched for this show.
Whoa.
Because I have a problem.
Size doesn't count, right?
It's just a lot of movies to go through and pick once a month. But I do that. There's also early access to video content on the Patreon and all of that. So if you want to check any of that out, tvstravis.com. You can find me on all of the social media networks as TV's Travis. Pretty much all of them. I kind of get in early, stake my claim for that username. Monica, where can people find you and what you're doing outside of GORE and the GOREpodcast.com?
Oh, Well, you can follow me on Twitter and Twitch and Blue Sky at WickedKitten13.
Excellent. Faye, what about you? Do you do anything online other than Gore?
Well, I mean, occasionally I do things on Twitter, but not very often. I'm not a socialite. But if you want to follow, you can follow me at Chibi Phelan.
Perfect. And Dread, what about you?
You can always find me on Twitch, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, whatever. At the Dreadlord, sometimes with a little, how do you call them?
Underscore?
Little dash? Underscore. Sometimes without, sometimes with. Who knows? That's why I made a little website called thedreadzone.com with all those links on. So
perfect. Thedreadzone.com.
Go there.
And you stream games quite a bit, and we're getting into spooky game season, so there's gonna be some fun ones coming up too.
Yes, I'm probably gonna say the same game as you are, and that's Alan Wake 2 that I'm waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
And yes.
That's practically November, though, so
yeah,
even I'm waiting for that.
I know. Until then,
They had to make it.
whatever Final Fantasy game you're playing.
15 right now.
Currently.
Okay. So check that
Road
out.
trip one.
Thedreadzone.com. You can find Dreadly anywhere you want to find. Thank you, all three of you, for being here. I love doing these crossover ones. These are fun to do every October. It's been a fun tradition to do for the last couple of years. So I say we do it again.
It's been 4 years.
Yeah,
It's
because
been
the
4
first
years.
it was you the first year on every week.
That's all that we were at that point.
Yes. And each successive time we kept adding until we had the full roster. And now we have our full roster of people. So definitely come on back next week for Chud, because I have no idea what we're getting into, but I think it's going to be something worth talking about. So the fact that 3 of the 4 of us haven't seen it has me very curious. So that's going to be next week, and all through this month. We've got a fun slate of movies we'll go into as we go along. So join us all October on What You Haven't Seen. Until then, until next week, remember to enjoy your movies, and we hope we made it just a little bit harder to get to sleep tonight.
Got him downstairs, sure. Pretty crispy, Mr. Hendershot. What happened?
Fucked if I know, Bubba. Fucked if I know.